Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to the NAO show. That's Marky Mark. That's Tank Top Mike. We had a double barn burner this past Monday night, for the second week in a row. And yes, I was crying tears of pure hatred for Russell Wilson. Can that guy just get shitter off the pot? He is cooked. Everybody was saying Russ Wilson needs to be let cooked. He is cooked. Get him out of Denver.
I was
How you
worried
guys
about
doing?
the Monday night game as well, so I'm glad I eked one out. You know,
You know who didn't eke one out? The Poo Crew. Well, how you guys doing?
Good. Great. Well,
yes.
Let's go.
okay.
I'm nervous to be excited because you've been fantasy grumpy since Monday night, so I'm nervous.
Fantasy Grumpy is a very nice way of saying that I've wanted to light the whole house on fire since Monday night. So I think the only way for this show is up because nothing has died yet. Nothing has been lit on fire yet. There's no holes in my wall, so I think my heart of hearts knew that Russell Wilson was going to lead me astray coming down to Monday night, but he toyed with it the whole time.
Yeah, they really tried. They did.
Yeah.
Like if Jerry Judy catches like 3/4 of those shit tosses he got thrown, he would be real. I would have won. I would have won. I think I can say that pretty definitively.
Looked like old Russ there for a while, but man, it was pretty brutal in that second half.
All right, so this is a true story, completely off the cuff. I come back from practice, turn on the game, and it says Russ is 10 for 10 in the first quarter, hasn't missed a throw. I stopped everything I was doing. I was like, should I turn off the TV?
Yeah.
I was like, no, all right, I'll just watch. As soon as I started watching, Russ was fucking hot dog shit the rest of the game. The next day, in a very particular chat, I said I may never watch another Monday night game. 2 weeks in a row, my feelings were absolutely destroyed because of fucking Monday Night Football. I don't have any feelings about it, really. I don't. I just my therapist says I'm making real good headway on my fantasy woes this year.
Well, that's what's important, man. That you get better.
That's right.
We're all pulling for you, buddy.
It's a process. It's a one day at a time process, and it always seems to go back when it's Monday Night Football. It's the music. It always is a trigger for me.
All right, guys, you want to get going here on the show?
Yeah.
I missed it. I 100% missed what you said, Sean. We were talking at the same time. Funny, hardly ever happens, but we were talking at the same time. I missed what you said. So, do you want to repeat that for me?
I just said that we should probably get into these matchups if you deem it
Ah, look at
necessary.
that, man. We're on the same page, man. Yeah, I was saying the same, just in a different way. All right, let's move on. Moving on already. We haven't even gotten any of, haven't gotten the first score in, and we're moving on. So, here we go. Well, breaking news: FNG takes down the Pooh Crew, who now joins the sub 100 group. Some of FNG's youngsters are starting to step up, and he did it in a fashion that took down the Pooh Crew this week. Happy times on the NAO show. Sean, I bet you want to start us off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to just send a formal thank you to FNG this week because after losing to the Pooh Crew, uh, I was like, man, I really hope somebody just takes him down a peg or two. and FNG comes roaring in next week and takes them out. Thank you, sir. What do you think there, Mike?
Yeah, we called it. Roll the tape on last week. Where's Evan recording our podcast for record the show for the chat now? We called
Yeah,
we
Evan.
called the
Oh, thank-
upset. Here it is. You know, we know what we're doing here. Is what I'm getting at. And
I've said it once, I'll say it again. If you want to win fantasy football, you listen to the NAO show on Thursday mornings, and then you just adjust your lineups accordingly.
yeah, this one was pretty fun to watch all the whole weekend actually. I mean, it was pretty close, and the projections stayed close, and then the Monday night disaster for Ian. I'd ship Herbert out. What's the point?
Put them on the block, see what you get. If you get a third round pick, hit the button. I think looking over at F&G's side, I think like looking at the scores and seeing that he beat the Pooh Crew, you would assume you would see some scores that you'd be like shocked by, scores that just you wouldn't normally see from particular dudes. But 13 points from Miles Sanders seems reasonable. Ramon Stevenson's been having a really good year. For him to go over 20 points, I think that was just a matter of time. Chris Godwin, 12 points. That's average for him. Like when he's back healthy, like he is. Mark Cooper, 12 points. Average for him, you know. I think the guys that he's been adding slowly to his lineup are starting to hit those averages that he expects. And his points per game, week in, week out, have subtly, secretly been adding up, getting up there, you know. And he just got the Puka on a freaking off week where Jeff Wilson only had half a point, just so everyone knows. And Monty over here didn't even break 9 points. So
It was a down week, fantasy scoring across the whole league, really.
yeah,
So 120 points might seem low, but like we said, like that was the third highest score I think it was of the whole league this week. So yeah, he's
Touchdowns are down in the NFL to this point from this time, over previous years. So, and it's showing. And I thought I was the only one, but I looked at Pooh Crew. He had 2 total TDs on his starting lineup. That was one by Cook and one by Barkley. So he gets to see what it feels like, man. I've had plenty of those weeks where I don't score watch, but I let the notifications go so that I know when there's a big play or a touchdown. My phone's sitting there on silent. I'm like, freaking A, man, where's the touchdowns? And I looked down through and I may have one, maybe 2 for the whole lineup. And and then you look over at Poo Crew who had Kelsey with 4 last week, he would kill for a couple more of those this week. But yeah, man, it's just scoring is down as far as touchdowns across the NFL. So of course it's affecting fantasy, and it's been kind of weird to tell you the truth. It's like every league I'm in, you see one guy has a big score, and then everybody else is kind of mid range. Lucky to get over 100, maybe up to 110, and then you got the guys that are under 100. They don't have any touchdowns on their roster. So
I would like to talk about 2 running backs, one on each of these guys' team, and give some kudos to both these guys. The first one is Kenneth Walker. I'm glad that I'm sad that Kenneth Walker is getting played because Penny got hurt again, and the guy worked his ass off to get back onto the field and got a starting position just to get hurt again. That was real bad. Kenneth Walker, he seems like the real deal. He's a guy that can be depended on for Seattle, and FNG went out and got him in the draft, and he's benefiting from it, which is what he needed. The other guy is actually going to be a shocker for people that listen to the show and watch the show regularly. It's going to be Saquon Barkley. Like, this guy came back and he is looking better than he was when he was in his prime, in his prime. I think he's better now. Like the team is stronger around him because they have the ability to throw the ball a little bit more. I think Daniels is a little bit better a passer. Their their pass catchers are still kind of hurt, but Barkley seems like he's the dude, and he's literally carrying that Giants team to wins right now, and it it's really fun to watch a guy that went through all those injuries and came back.
That's a lot coming from you about Barkley.
Yeah, I know. I had big feelings about him dying in a fucking dumpster, but I am human and I grew.
Maybe if the Giants ever decide that wide receivers are something that they can put on the field, Barkley, you know, maybe takes a few points per game back. But yeah, he is looking pretty good. So,
He's playing through a shoulder injury too, so he's showing some toughness, because he's got that. I think he's got that injury-prone tag on him, which may not be totally fair because it's been a couple of different injuries. But yeah, I've seen him a few times where I thought, oh man, he's not coming back, but he keeps getting out there. Including last week when he kind of scored against you, Sean, when thought maybe he was out, and um, looked like maybe he wasn't going to come back, but he got back in there and got a touchdown. Could have had another touchdown this past week, but he slid and did the smart thing
Yep.
and didn't let him get in back into the game. So yeah, Barkley, man, he's probably the early favorite for comeback player of the year. Have to see if
Oh
he
yeah,
can
I definitely agree.
see if he can keep playing through that shoulder injury and keep in there. So, but so
One
far,
last thing about this matchup that I want to bring to light, that is something that we'll kind of go through a couple other of the matchups is these head-to-head matchups. ETN versus James Robinson. I was kind of keeping an eye on that. I was I was I was rooting for James Robinson if you were wondering. Uh, but ETN had 11.8 and then James Robinson 6. But the carries is what I was looking at. ETN only had 10 carries. James Robinson had 12 carries, so it's pretty much right down the middle split. I thought that was a pretty cool head-to-head matchup, and both of them putting them right next to each other in the flex, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
one of them did probably Ian. I know FNG pretty well, and I don't think he really pays attention to shit like that. But he can correct me if I'm wrong. He can let me know. But yeah, seems like that's something like Ian would do. Oh yeah, he's got Robinson in. I'm gonna put ETN right next to him. I'll show
Right
you.
next to him. I may or may not have done the same thing.
yeah, I was gonna
So
say you
Yeah,
definitely do that when we have matchups.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Walker, man, it's funny. FNG didn't play Penny before, even when he had that big game, he still didn't have Penny in the lineup. But as soon as Penny was injured, Walker was in there for sure, and probably will be until further notice, I would imagine. And Walker, man, he's amongst the top in the league in forced missed tackles, and he hasn't even played as much as some of these other guys. So he's
Think
showing out. He's
that
showing
stat,
out.
the Derrick Henry stat,
Yeah,
the
well,
forced missed tackles.
yeah. He's going to be to me. He's going to be a Chubb type. He may not get it in the passing game, but he'll do enough in the running game to get you there. So, all right, let's move on to our next score here. We're going to go with the high score of the week. Tank Top Mike 151, Goofy effing Jace 80. So Mike keeps on rolling while Goofy thanks God for the tips on a day that he only scores 80 points. Mike, this is yours. You want to start us off on this one?
I did pretty well. I was the one high score of the week. Um, what's crazy to me is I did not stay up to watch the whole Monday night game like Sean did. So when I woke up the next morning and saw that Eckler had 10 catches on 16 targets, I was like that's the Eckler that you know that um, that Ian traded away for Dalvin Cook in a first or whatever it was. But that was cool. And then I had a lot of the touchdowns and I had all the targets. I had a ton of guys with a lot of targets. and that's how you win fantasy football games. So
Yeah, what Pittman went crazy too. He's been pretty quiet. He
mm,
went crazy for you too, man.
that's a classic Michael Pittman stat line: 13 catches, bunch of yards, and no touchdowns.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's Roddy or who was
20
it?
points.
He's
We'll
classic Julio Jones.
we'll give that to the rookie and tight end number 3. But Pittman, you're just gonna have to do with the yards.
You're going to do all the heavy lifting for us, and everybody else is going to score for us.
It was cool though because you know who did get a touchdown was Chase Claypool. I did not enjoy having to do that in my lineup, but you know what? He scored, so
Yeah.
it was coming every week. Every week he
All
has
the
about the same amount of targets. You know, he hovers at that 7 target range every week. So it was coming eventually. And I mean, obviously, you know, just the touchdown is really what. But he caught more than usual. Normally he's like 2 catches on 7 targets. So I think they're figuring him out a little bit. So that'd be nice.
what is this scuttlebutt I've been hearing rumblings around the league that Claypool might be a Packer soon?
Yeah, the Packers do this every year, where they say they're in the market for somebody big or whatever, and I think this is the first year that Rodgers has actually said it. So, and he's actually saying, "I expect to bring somebody in. I expect something to happen." So we'll see. And I've heard
Every other
that,
year they had Devontae Adams in there, so everything
yeah,
else is going to be like a cherry on top. They ain't got no cream and they ain't got no cherry, so they might be going after a freaking wide receiver.
yeah. There's a lot of talk about who, if they're bringing somebody in, who it is. Obviously, like the DJ Moore and the Carolina teardown wants to go there. I mean, if I had to pick, if Rogers calls me, I'd recommend Claypool to go there. I would love to see Claypool and Rogers over DJ Moore. To be honest, I think they'd be fantastic.
I
And as
think looking over at Goofy's lineup, it's interesting to see that he kind of lives and dies by like a couple teams. Like Green Bay is one of his teams, and the Baltimore Ravens is one of his teams. If both those teams do well, he does well. If they suck hind tit, like he sucks hind tit, you know?
and Green Bay's been kind of bad for a couple of weeks here. He's been counting on those guys. Lazard has surprisingly been pretty solid. I say surprisingly. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would think he's got Jones, he's got Dylan. I would think they'd be more consistent, but Lazard has really been the one that's been more consistent in the lineup. But yeah, it's been pretty bad there, man. Um, Brees Hall is a bright spot for him. Looks like he's ascending and definitely going to be a big part of his lineup going forward. But this week the Cowboys kept Hurts in check, and he's been getting upwards of 30 points out of this guy. So that was a big one for him. It just a lot of things came together to give him a pretty poor score this week.
Yeah, I think better days are ahead for him, though.
Yeah, I do too. Mike, though, I got to tell you, man. I'm not taking anything away from you and what you've done to build this roster, but there is a lot of luck involved in fantasy, and Claypool hadn't done crap the whole year, and you probably wouldn't have played him if you didn't have buys going on. But the week you had to put him in there is the week he delivered. That's when you know that maybe a championship is in the future. Because I don't mean to jinx you there, but those are the kind of things. And like Taysom Hill, I picked up Taysom Hill on waivers. I put him in. He gets a point and a half. I drop his ass. You pick him up, and he wins you a week.
Fun fact: Taysom Hill is number 3 overall tight end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let that sit in your freaking cereal.
Yeah, he's going to be. It looks like he's going to be pretty boomer bust, and you have to wonder if they're going to change his designation because I think he's had maybe 2 targets all year. He's a
hmm
tight end, and he's had a couple of targets, but he's thrown for touchdowns. He's run for touchdowns. He had more rushes than anything. So we'll have to see what happens there. But that's what I'm saying though, Mike. That's sometimes. you have to have those kind of things come your way to win a championship. It's looking good for you right now, man.
I will take it.
The NFL changes designation to flex. That should be his position. Like
Well, I
flex.
think most are all just whatever the Saints are, and the Saints roster him as a tight end, like on their depth chart.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but they rostered him as a tight end, but they gave him starting quarterback incentive bonuses. So,
yeah.
I mean, they did
I
this
think
on purpose to pay him. So,
I think the most I don't know the most logical one is probably running back. That's what he's doing mostly. But a
mm,
lot of those rushes are from the quarterback position. But I don't think anybody would start him if he had QB next to his name. But if he has RB next to his name, maybe, TE all day long. And you
Yes,
take that, you take those ebbs and flows, but man,
to say the tight end is depleted this year is an absolute joke because if you don't have one of the two tight ends, Kelsey or Andrews, everybody else is just praying for 6 points. If you get 6 points from a tight end these days, it's like, hell yeah, let's go. Had a good weekend tight end this week. 6 points.
it's a crapshoot for sure. All right, let's move on to our next score here. We've got the DBs 125, the Prince 115. So another Monday night barn burner for you, Sean. Funny that you said barn burner. I had it written down earlier in the day. We got some telepathy going on, man. Some of that cousin telepathy going on. But again, you came out on the wrong side of it, man. Tell us about it. I know we
So
saw him, but go into some more detail.
I knew I was gonna have to set the best lineup. Obviously, I did not set the best lineup because if you look at Ian's website, my efficiency rating is uh, but I I really so I'm gonna go on the record and say I have a love hate relationship for CEH. Every time I need to depend on that dill hole, freaking gets me like 4 points. When I don't need to depend on him, he's like, all right, I'll score twice with 3 catches this today and get you 12 points. And I'm just like, all right, where the hell is that ever? Leading into the last two matchups, leading into the matchup against Boo Crew and the DBs, CEH was running back 4. Guess who was not running back 4 numbers in the last 2 weeks?
yeah, he went to
One
13.
guess.
Up to 13, you say, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wow, wow.
And I did go back and forth like 900 times on who I was going to play, Jerry Judy and freaking Brandon Ayuk. And then it was just a gut call. I was like, all right, it's going to be the Chargers. Hopefully, freaking Russ actually pulls his head from his black hole of an ass and freaking throws the right way. Obviously, we all know what happened. And it did not happen that way. But
So,
it was definitely a barn burner. I stayed up the whole time. I couldn't tell you the last time I stayed up all night to watch a fucking Monday night football game. And man, was I upset going to sleep.
so I hate to do it, but I
But
have
you're
to
gonna do
get
it anyway.
I
So
have
you
to
don't
give
really.
Evan the props for the absolute clackers on this man to without co-manager approval to bench somebody and put in Robinson. So and the roster before was Kareem Hunt and he puts in Robinson right before the game time. That's a classic tinker. But props to him
Okay,
because that move is what won the game. They would have lost with Kareem Hunt in there and Robinson on the bench. So you talk about luck
Yeah,
going away, and
yeah,
that's it. So
yeah.
that was they had the two
going into
roster
this,
moves before game time were what cost the game. If you had started Ayuk, you win. If they started Kareem Hunt, they lose. So
matchup, I knew that Fournette was gonna get 20 points. CMC was good for 20 plus points. Uh, I knew it was going to come down to just those odd and end guys like Robinson, like Judy, in my case, CEH. CEH kind of fucked me this week. But yeah, I knew it was going to come down to that. But continuing on with our head-to-head battle, Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I was looking at that matchup all day. I was like, man, Waddle's almost there. He almost got it. He's almost got him. He's all got him. Then Tyreek Hill just has 177 yards with no touchdowns. I was like, golly. All right. And I think both of them, Waddle and Hill, are gonna have a better day next week with freaking Tua coming back underneath the center.
Yeah, Bridgewater's certainly looking Hill's way mostly. So you want Tua back so Waddle can have a chance at winning that matchup on the same team. So, Mike, you mentioned the roster change. The thing I noticed here was that trade with Dillon is paying dividends because without Fournette, they wouldn't have won either.
Mm-hmm.
Because I looked at what they would have had to start on their bench at running back, and again, you're talking about Kareem Hunt maybe going in there. Um, they may not have won that one without having Fournette. So yeah, a couple things kind of going in their direction on a down week for them scoring wise compared to what they have had. And just looking at your side, Sean, JJ had a decent day, but no TDs. Waddle, great day, really, but
Yeah.
no TDs. Plus, he lost a fumble. So it's like you kind of needed that cherry on the top, and you just didn't get it. Um, yeah, I hated it for you because I was pulling for you to take them down a peg. They had their little fun with that with the video talking about taking them off their perch. But you were really close to knocking them off that bitch.
I know.
But yeah, things went in their direction this week. So another tough loss for you, man.
Story of my freaking life.
All right, we'll move on to our next score. That is the Who's Your Daddies 99, Silly Dilly 88. So last week I said I'd never been so depressed with a win in all my life, but I was wrong. Now, now I've never been so depressed with a win in all my life. Ugh, you guys talk it out and I'll finish this up.
At
Go
least you
ahead,
got the
Mike.
Jamar Chase game out of this. If there's anything
Yeah,
if there's anything good, you got a Jamar Chase game.
Finally,
we all
finally.
knew it was gonna happen when Joe Burrow comes. Natty championship, Jamar Chase, freaking jersey on. I saw that before the game, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to happen. This is just a matter of time now." Who else wears a freaking college teammate's freaking jersey and not throw him the freaking ball?
Okay, that's a lot of silence. I thought Mike may pick up where you interrupted him, but I guess Mike's done. Well, uh, yeah, Dylan, man, it's tough for him. We called it. We said that he was going to be down this year. He didn't even really have enough points on the bench. He only lost by 11, but I don't think he could have even gotten it from his bench. He's got Rodgers that's just playing poorly the last couple of games. Um, One good thing for him is he picked up Minnesota on waivers, and they scored 13 points. The defense, Minnesota DST, they scored 13. A lot of times you make a move like that, and it gets you a win. But unfortunately, it's probably one of the best plays he had the whole time, the whole week. So, on my side, it's 4 out of 6 weeks, guys, that one of my starting running backs is toast. So 3 weeks it was injury. This week it was what the hell's going on with Benton Melvin Gordon after starting him in the game. NFL has asked me to leave the running back spot empty because I am really hurting the running back pool in league wide. league wide. every every week, man. To see I start somebody and it's just a freaking shit show.
I heard that Melvin Gordon was pretty upset about it though, so very publicly
Yeah,
upset. So now, do you start the squeaky wheel next week or?
right, right. And
The
and I
last time a squeaky wheel got taken care of, he got shipped off to Arizona.
yeah, I hate that these guys they're emotional. They've lost, and in his case, he got benched. He's over there pissed off, just waiting for the game to end, and then they got to get in his face. I hate that happens, but yeah, he was not happy. And what killed me is that a couple of weeks back, maybe 3 weeks, I can't remember. I lost a matchup in the SDSL, the Super Duper Secret League. I lost it by 0.38 points. I had Javante going on a Monday night, and there was a there was one drive where Melvin Gordon fumbled the ball, lost the fumble, and so there's a drive that's ended by his fumble. He's in on the next series. He's in next. I don't know if it's next series, but he's in on another series. He fumbles the ball, but he doesn't lose it, and I'm like, all right, good. Get his ass out of there. Put Javante in. I need some points, Maybe needs new shoes and all. But freaking, they keep Melvin in, and on that drive, he scores a touchdown. They get a first and goal. He gets a carry for 5 yards down to the one. That carry would have won me the game if that would have been Javante. I didn't even need the touchdown. I just needed the 5 yards, right? Gordon goes on to score the touchdown, and I'm like, okay, so Gordon's their boy. But no, this week it's we're gonna bring Latavius Murray off the couch, and he's gonna be our boy. So man, I'll tell you what, I am not a fan of Hackett whatsoever because he pissed me off by leaving Gordon in, and he pissed me off by taking Gordon out. So he can go f himself, we'll say. So a little semi rant there, but yeah, I mean, I got the win this week, but yeah, I'm wanting some points. I'm wanting to catch up on points if I can, and I'm just getting further behind with crap like that. So thank God for Chase and Kittle because they actually did Chase and Kittle things, which helped me get enough points to win this one. Ah, we can move on if you guys would like to, because I've uh, I've been on tilt long enough. Let's go to our last score. That would be the A Bombers 114. Just the tips. You heard it right. 47. 47. So A Bomb had to feel like he was playing with himself on this one. Wait. I mean, playing against himself. Sorry. A Bomb had to feel like he was playing against himself. He needed to keep pace on points, but he was down a bit. Let's talk about this one, guys.
I just want it to be known if A-Bomb sat everyone except Josh Allen and Mark Andrews, he would have only lost by 0.3 points. 0.3 points if he played
Wow.
two people.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody lost in this one, including the rest of the league for having to have watched this go on. Because
Tell us how you feel, Mike.
didn't Ian say this was the new league low score, 46 points?
Hmm.
And then Aaron gets a W, and he gets in the win column, but then like you said, falls back on points with a low scoring week. So,
Yeah.
jeez.
Well, in a league that has always, every year, come down to points, getting the extra W is always real.
Well, the thing about it is, Aaron's right where he wants to be. He's right on the edge of points for. He's right on the edge of the playoffs. He's 3-3. This is where he is all the time. So I don't think he's worried. He's done
This is
this the
where he
last 2
lives.
years.
He's right at home, man. He's sitting there in some sweatpants and his comfortable T-shirt. He ain't sweating in a bit, man. Yeah,
sitting right
man.
there in the middle, and he's like, "This is no one's looking at me. Just wait until I have to start
Yeah,
Rex Burkhead, and he gets fucking 27 points on the time I play him.
yeah.
Everybody will be wishing they had my guys."
He just wants to stay in striking distance, and that's exactly where he is, man. Yeah, it was a down week for Chubb at 7.5. That's easily his lowest one all year. Evans was 6.20, so not good there either. So, yeah, I mean he got the win, but he definitely wanted to keep the points going there. Just the tips, man. I mean, what do you say? Singletary had 12.7, nice score there, but his next highest, their next highest, I should say. I don't want to make it all about Humpty, who's coaching basketball right now, while Landon poorly manages the lineup.
Wait. Is there a possibility that Humpty comes back, looks at his lineup, and goes, "What the hell have you been doing with my lineup?
Oh, bitch, man.
What the heck?" Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be glorious if that
their
happened.
their next highest was McCole Hardman, who was on the bench with 11.7. You know, spoiler alert for when we get to the matchups. I look, he still got Hardman on the bench. I'm like, dude, put Hardman in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing better than most of the guys you're trotting out there every week. So not good at all, man. And yeah, I rounded up to 47, but you're right, Mike. It was 46 point something more than point 0.5, right? So, not good at all. So, and in the process, they've just taken all the fun out of the Miyagi. So I won't really go into the Miyagi this week. I will say there was a Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week. That was really Mike against Goofy, man. You almost doubled him up, 151 to 80. So the tips, they don't even count hardly for the Miyagi anymore. They're tired of making speeches. So Goofy kind of gets the air quote honors this week for getting that ass waxing of the week. So yeah, come on, tips. Get something going so that the Miyagi is fun again. We're even talking about
Make
doing it.
Miyagi fun again.
Yeah, make Miyagi fun again. That'll be our hashtag for this week in chat. We're talking about new segments because Miyagi's just lost its luster, man. So sorry, Mr. Miyagi's right behind me here. What's that?
We're gonna call it the Tips Award.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the standings, Mike. If you want to run them down really quickly for us.
So just go back to what we said about him last week, and it's basically the same this week. No changes. We called that though. The playoffs top four could not change after this week. Although Goofy did get a loss, so it's a little closer. Like
Yeah.
we said though, Aaron got the win. A little bit of low scoring week for him though. So the underdogs have officially passed him in points for. Not by much, but it's there.
What is that difference? And like 0.08 or something
Yeah,
real.
yeah. Less
Is
than
it
Yeah.
point
0.08?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than 0.1. But hey, they'll take it. They'll take it. They'll probably do a video to let us know. They'll play our words and let us know that they're up there.
There was another significant change about who's in the Who Cares Bowl, but I can't
Wait,
remember it. So
what?
let's go on to the next part.
Yeah, yeah, let's
I
go.
can't remember what it is.
Is somebody aspiring to the Who Cares Bowl now? Hey, I'm not gonna brag, man. I mean, I've been under 100 the last 2 weeks. I'm not gonna brag at all. It is pretty. It really is. Who cares on my end? All right. Well, let's go on to the matchups for next week. No trades this week, so nothing there. We'll go right on to the marquee mark matchup of the week. That is the Prince versus Tank Top Mike. So Diggs and Cup on buy for Tank Top. You think you could steal one from him, Sean? From him, Sean?
So in the off season, I knew I was gonna have to play Tank Top twice this year, and I was praying every night to my loyal fantasy football gods, and I prayed, if if I have to face Mike, please make it a week that I don't have to face either Cup or Diggs. And they said, "You're going to be such a shitty team leading up to this matchup. We will give you Diggs and Cup on the same week and make it so you feel like you have a chance just to burn your chances right at the last second, like we have the last 2 weeks." So to say I have mixed emotions going into this matchup would be an understatement. What do you think there, Mike?
So when I was looking at this matchup earlier today, I noticed your Monday night woes. And I thought my only chance, without those two guys, I mean, that's a guaranteed at least 40 points,
At least,
So
at least.
my only chance on those two guys was a Monday night showdown that you just fail miserably in again, but I don't even get that. All of our players are Thursday and Sunday, so it's setting up for you to steal one. So
Yeah, maybe the third time's a charm. It's only 7 point difference in the projections right now. I will say though, Sean, that you got Reynolds in over Judy. I think Reynolds just popped up on the injury report,
Yeah, today.
and I'm kind of wondering. Okay, you. When I looked at this earlier, I don't think you had Schultz in. Did you? Maybe had Disley
Nope,
in
I
there.
made that change when Schultz came off the
So
injury
yeah,
report today.
I like that play a lot better than Disley. Disley's been touchdown dependent. You grabbed him and started putting him in there, and he stopped scoring his touchdowns. Man, I swear, what is this freaking family luck that we got going on? But
Sounds about right.
yeah, yeah. So on Mikey's side, he's got Jacobs back, and Jacobs has been killing it, man, since that McDaniel with that New England philosophy of run, run, run. Uh, Jacobs has been really good this year, and they're even passing the ball to him, and I got him in 2 leagues and loving it, man. I wish I had him in this league, man. So it's nice to get Jacobs back. I know because I missed him last week.
mm-hmm.
Won one of those matchups, lost the other. Maybe getting Swift back too. So that could be good for you, Mike. I see you still rocking Claypool again by probably more because you have to, um, but yeah, it could be an interesting one, man. No Monday nighter, so maybe this will be the week you do it.
My real analysis of this was what I gave to you earlier, Sean, of our teams look like ass.
Straight dookie.
Yeah.
If you look at the teams we have running right now and are started in week one, it is significantly different.
Well, yeah, you get Olave back this week coming off the concussion. Um, I was talking in chat earlier though that Byron Murphy for Arizona has been really good at shutting down the top guy. So without Thomas and Landry in there, I guess they'll probably focus on Olave. So we'll have to see, can the rookie step up, or is Murphy going to still be the shutdown guy he has been? Arizona's defense overall, it's funny, they're not a great defense, but they've actually been pretty decent for fantasy. They've actually scored a couple of touchdowns in recent weeks, um, but they don't have a lot. But Murphy has been really good as a shutdown corner. Worries me a little bit for Olave. So I'm really interested in that particular matchup right there. Olave against possibly Murphy trying to be the shutdown again.
I think, to be honest with you, Marky Mark, if Michael Thomas or Landry was playing, I think Murphy would still cover Olave. I think Olave is their biggest
Yeah.
weapon right now. So I think it was just going to happen. I think this is one of those games. It's gonna kind of show us exactly what we got going on in Olave. If he comes out and smashes, maybe he's gonna be deemed uh matchup proof. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll make that jump because he's been awesome every week he's played. But he is coming off a concussion. We got to take that in consideration. He might not be at 100%, and he's going up against a up and coming corner that is kind of not house. He's not a house name yet, but like you said, he has been doing really well against top wide receivers this year. So it's going to be a cool matchup. Hopefully, Olave can get one up on him.
He's been getting it done. I'm I'm really high on Olave, so I hope to see him do a little something against him. It'd be nice to see, but it's some I've heard some folks calling it a trap game for Olave. So, but what are you gonna do? You put Judy in there over him. You may have to play Judy if Reynolds is out. So
Yeah.
gotta kind of have to roll with him. So that'll be a big one for you in this one because you know, you you guys have to at least do as well as normal or above to hang in there with Tank Top. And you got the week to do it with Diggs and Cup out. Couldn't have picked a better
And
week.
to be honest, Judy going against the New York Jets, if he gets sauce on him, I meant that pun intended.
Yeah,
If he
no,
has to go up against sauce, I don't know if Judy's gonna catch one ball.
I
Judy
think
is not good enough to go up against sauce.
I'm the guy that's going to suffer with Sauce with Sutton because really he's definitely their overall top guy. I think so.
Yeah,
Maybe Judy becomes a good play. Russell's got a hamstring now, along with the shoulders, so he's going to be out there in a freaking wheelchair. So that's the
that's
biggest thing.
what sand in his vagina.
Yeah,
So
that's the biggest thing. Is Russell even able to sustain anybody? We'll have to see. All right, let's move on to our next matchup here. We got Silly Dilly going up against the A Bombers. So here's another week where A Bomb is playing with himself. So, oh, sorry, I mean playing against himself. Man, I got I got to stop doing that. All right, take it from here. Take it from here. Somebody.
so fun fact: Silly Dilly versus Orlando City Football Club is 3-0, 3-0 going into this matchup. So the Orlando Football Club does not have history on his side going into this
Hmm.
matchup here.
It's
It
a
would
good.
be
That's a fun fact, man. That's a fun
it's a
I
little
think
fact.
fun
Thanks.
fact for you. I like to sprinkle some stuff in here, make it worth listening to my babble every for 45 minutes.
Thank you for
yeah,
that.
I think
Uh,
this might be the one that they take or that Aaron breaks that because they haven't taken Devonte Adams to jail yet for so he gets him at least. But yeah, I think
we should have an over under bet on how many people Avon has to actually start to get the win this week because last week he needed 2.1 people to start and get the win over the Tips. I think I'll give the red hot silly dilly willies an up on him and maybe 4 players. You'd have to start 4 players to beat Dylan.
well this is a points for week for Aaron again. You just like last week. You get a winless team, but you probably get the W. But you got to score some points.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
to put the points on the board.
And the Buffalo bye puts half his starting roster, on on the bench this week. I was looking at it, I was like, holy crap, he's got the defense, he's got Gabe Davis, he's got Josh Allen, and seemed like there's somebody else in there that I missed.
Knock,
Huh?
knock every once in a
Oh yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah. Dawson Knox. So yeah. So he's like, crap, I gotta put 4 guys in the lineup this week. He's not used to shuffling that much, man. He usually just rolls that Buffalo roster. So yeah, he's maybe a little more vulnerable this week, but I don't think Dylan's going to be able to exploit it. One interesting thing is that Cousins is on bye too, so he's going with the brisket. He's got he's got Jacoby Brisket in the basket going against Silly Dilly. And hey, good on him, man. If there's a week you got to roll with Jacoby, let it be against someone in the bottom 4, right? And the thing that stands out to me though is it here we go again with A Bomb because he's got Kenyon Drake in there. Is this another waiver wire darling that he puts in there,
Mm-hmm.
pulls freaking rabbit out of his hat, and gets 15 to 20 points from some guy that nobody wanted early in the season.
He got 19.2 points after getting a total of 8 points in the 5 weeks prior. 5 weeks prior, he only had 8 points. He didn't get a start at all. Avon picks him up and puts him in the starting lineup. He automatically gets fucking 19 points.
And he looked good last week, man. I watched that game. He looked really good.
So
And
I wanted to
yeah,
be.
go ahead, Mike.
I wanted to be. You know, you said, is he a waiver wire darling? But for Aaron, he's a third round vet draft darling.
Dang!
He drafts him in the third round of the vet draft in 2020. Holds on to him this whole time for this one game against Silly.
And, I didn't research that part. I just assumed that Kenyon Drake was out there on the freaking waiver wire.
The
He
third
knew.
round.
He
Yeah.
had faith. I'll
Let's go
tell you,
back
he's
and break
loyal.
down the third round of the draft because I need to know what happened.
Yeah. Why is Kenyon Drake the guy that was getting taken in the late and the back end of a third round in a vet draft?
It's kind of crazy. He was with Miami back then, was he? Or no,
Arizona that year.
Arizona? Oh my God. Yeah.
I guess he finished RB 16, I guess, but
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, but I mean, he's pretty well. Like I said, he was on there. He was on the waiver wire for most folks. So good on A-Bomb for holding on to him. So all right, so he doesn't get the waiver wire, darling, but holy crap! I mean, who would have thunk it, right? And Dobbins is still. I think he didn't practice today. Was he a DNP or was he a limited? Yeah, he's something's going on with that knee still, and he's not 100%. So I know that hurts you in another league, Sean, the SDSL, and poor Goofy feeling it too, in this league. But just crazy, man, just crazy. Gus is not back. Um, Justice coming off the was looking good for a while, but he coming off the Achilles, he gets another injury, which isn't unheard of for guys coming off Achilles. So all of a sudden, Kenyon Drake, crazy man, just crazy. All right, let's move on to our third matchup. We've got the Hoosier Daddies versus the DBs. I'm looking at this one and thinking I'll need the perfect storm of me overachieving and them underachieving to get the W. Or maybe the commissioner's curse will transfer during this matchup. What do you think, guys?
Well, you can only freaking hope so. History has shown that you get a little boost in your win column when you play the DBs. You have a record of 2-1 against the DBs going into this matchup, and the DBs didn't make a trade this a couple days ago to give them the one of the best stacks, as we talked about in the chat. And maybe it's another chase day against Atlanta. Wouldn't that just be delightful?
Yeah, it would be delightful. What do you think, Mike?
um, I can't. The only thing I can see in this matchup is they have DeAndre Hopkins in.
Yeah,
That's all I
And
can.
Rondell
That's
Moore.
all I can. Oh, I would put Rondell Moore in for sure, but I put
yeah,
him
Moore's
in.
a good start.
I put him in
Yeah,
another
Moore's a good
league
start,
easy.
definitely.
Yeah,
But
they're
yeah, Hopkins in already, just going straight for it. I guess is he
flexing a little bit. Hey, yeah, that trade was more than Fournette, right?
is he trying to or
So,
like negating some Kyler points? If
well,
Kyler throws to him.
that's what I was going to say. I'm hoping this week is all about Kyler rushing touchdowns, you know, because Murray is listed as the QB6, but it sure doesn't feel like it. We talked about it during the pre-show chat. I was shocked to see that he's the QB6 because it sure hasn't felt like he's done much for me lately. Was it Janet Jackson with the "What have you done for me lately"? Yeah, not feeling it for Kyler, but got to put him out there. So I got to hope that instead of throwing touchdowns to more in Hopkins, that he rushes them in, or throw him to Ertz. whoever has Ertz, let them get the benefit of that. And that
Silly
Dylan,
Billy.
and that Dylan, yeah, we'll let Dylan have it this week since I'm not playing him. Yeah, I've got no buys of any consequence. They're missing AJ Brown this week, but looking up and down their starting lineup, they're not missing AJ too much, man. They got a solid lineup. That's what I say. It's got to be the perfect storm. I'm hoping that Commissioner's Curse does a little transfer. I think it is transferable. I have deemed it transferable, and let's hope that happens this week.
Law.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. We got Goofy effing Jace going up against FNG. This one to me is an interesting matchup. You got one on the rise and in FNG, and you got one trying to hang in there in Goofy Jace. What do you guys think?
I think this one's going to be kind of interesting just on the overall standings somehow. I mean, if Goofy wins, he hangs in the playoffs, stays at five
Yeah,
and two. But if F and G pulls this one out, it moves up to 3 and 4, and 3 and 4, right? Could put him in the Who Cares Bowl all the way. That could be kind of interesting. Like we're not used to seeing F and G in anything other than the bottom four, and here he comes. So
yeah.
yeah, and the projection is super close. So
There are a couple rookies in this matchup that are gonna have to go off for either team to really get the W. Goofy's got uh, Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
He could have a pretty good day, and he could be a difference maker. And then FNG's got Walker going out there, and he's got Drake London, which I think Drake London is just a matter of time. He's gonna hit sooner or later, right? Just like him and Pitts. Pitts is gonna have a touchdown sooner or later, and everybody lost their minds when he actually got a touchdown. I think Landon London is gonna have to get some targets. Come on.
I mean, London's had some good games, but they're so run first, and they're getting more run centric. If you look back over London's first 6 games, he's had some good ones there, but
Mhm.
just that they're running the ball so much right now for whatever reason. When you got Pitts and London, who anybody can throw the ball up to and do well, but they want to run their second and third running backs out there. It's kind of crazy.
Even as a rookie, he should be higher than wide receiver 29 right now.
Yeah, yeah, and he's a contested catch guy, but that's not what they're doing with him. you know, they could throw deep balls, get him one on one out there on the boundary, but that's not how they're using him either. So it's another mismanagement kind of thing, but that's what we kind of had to know that's what Smith wanted to do. Um, he's a run first kind of guy.
If they would actually throw that deep dime, Marcus Mariota and uh, Landon London
London,
will
yeah,
get points for FNG, so that could make
yeah.
this matchup a little bit better.
yeah, the Mariota London stack was not talked about today in chat.
Yeah, that stack was not brought up.
Yeah, that was down the list a little ways, man. We would have gotten to it eventually, but
Right around 20 something.
yeah, yeah. Well, for Goofy, man, he's got no hurts. He's on bye this week, so he's starting Lawrence, who's been a little bit up and down, but definitely playing better, I think.
Would you say starting Lawrence hurts?
Yeah,
Man, we got to get that little, we got to get that little sound effect, man. I tell you, we need a producer, man. Got to have a producer. Keenan is still a question mark. I guess he's trying to practice this week. If I had to guess, I'd say Keenan needs another week from the severity of the injury that he's got there. And right now, all of Goofy's tight ends have the questionable tag on them. I think Fryermuth is gonna come out of concussion protocol. It's a little iffy though because I think it's his third one maybe, and it gets a little more iffy when you get that deep into the protocol. So on FNG side, he's got buys for Goddard, Sanders. Stafford's out, so we talked about Mariota starting for him. I like his lineup though, man. I look up and down his lineup, and I'm like, this is not a rebuild guy anymore. This is a guy that's going to start doing some stuff and making some noise in the league.
He did just beat
Mhm.
Ian. I don't know if we talked about that lately, but he
Did we
did.
talk about
He
that?
did beat Ian.
Did we
He
talk
beat
about that?
Ian.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you know?
Yep. Lost. Yep. Ian did.
Now, if
Who
I'm not
crew lost home?
mistaken, Ian's been one of the perennial playoff guys, top guys in the league, right?
Well, I
He always
mean,
scores 100
yeah.
points, so you got to
Yeah,
figure.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You're right.
he score
He's
100 points this time?
he's never been under 100 points. I remember very well because he put it in all caps in the
Mm-hmm.
chat that he
That's pretty
still
definitive.
hadn't scored under 100 points. So yeah, and
So
just
what was his score against FNG? It must have been over 100 points,
oh
right?
yeah, wait, I got it down here. Oh, 95. 95.
What?
Jeez.
That is under 100. That is under 100. Breaking
Holy
news.
lord!
Breaking news. Who Crew
Did
scored
it?
under 100
Did
points.
it?
Now,
So
how come he didn't say that in the chat, man? What the hell?
Yeah,
yeah.
I would have
Really
thought
weird.
it being a milestone for him, he would have put it in all caps, big letters, you know,
It's
like.
really weird, man. It's really
I
weird. But I'm
blame
glad we caught that.
I blame the DBs, to be honest. That he came in chat, they're all hyped up 6-0. Who gives a shit? Really,
Who
it
gives a
just
fuck?
let Ian fly under the radar. That
Yeah. Dang it, man. Dang it. You're right.
That freaking video, I'm telling you.
Thank you, Tank Top. Hey, did we call you Tank Top Hoodie today, or
well, it's
is it?
cold here. It's only like 55,
Oh,
so I had to get the hoodie out. Yeah.
meanwhile, we got our second freeze warning of the year coming tonight. 55 degrees. Tank top hoodie. Coming with the heat though, man. Thank you for pointing that stuff out. Thank you so much, man. FNG on the rise. Poo
Do
Crew.
do 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 do.
Poo Crew going into crapper where poo belongs. Yeah, speaking of Poo Crew, our last matchup of the week is just the tips versus the Poo Crew. Now, guys, Ian gets a little weepy when we don't spend enough time on his matchups and scores and all that. So help me out with a little bit of filler here, guys, please. Even though, just the tips. Is this the barn burner we want to talk about? But let's just appease the little girl and talk about him a little bit.
Do we have to?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
oh,
dude,
my
I don't
work is
even.
calling about my taxes, so I guess I have to go deal with that instead.
Uh,
There's so many other things I'd rather talk about than let's
we don't.
let's talk about bold moves that the tips are going to do this week.
All right, let's hear it.
Mike Boone playing against the New York Jets. That's a bold move, Cotton. What do we think about that play?
Well, do they have Latavius in because they picked him up? Was it just a pickup for a trade like Evan does, or
I
Hmm.
think
are
it
they?
was there, sir,
He's on the
because he
bench.
is not in the lineup.
And I talked about McCole Hardman. They keeping him on the bench. I mean, I know he's boomer bust, but what else do you got, man? What are they starting over McCole Hardman this week?
Well, when you're starting at bust, anything above that is being beneficial for the team, right?
I mean, we know Ricky's coaching basketball and he's letting Landon do things.
He's gonna be
Landon,
so
man,
mad when he comes back.
Landon, you got to do a little something, man. Got to do a little something.
We gotta see some bold moves from Landon while he is the main contributor to this franchise. We need to see some good trades happen. We need to see some first round picks going over to Airgate. You know, like, come on, man, let's do this.
Well, they had De'Ami Brown in there last week. Classic rookie dynasty chasing points move from Landon. De'Ami Brown, didn't he have 2 touchdowns here recently? Let's put him in there.
Hmm.
What did he
That's
get
gonna be
for
the
him last
most
week?
touchdowns he has in one season his whole career. I
Yeah, I'll tell you who they have ascending a little bit.
Ooh,
Um,
okay, ooh.
David Bell. We haven't
Ooh.
talked much about him, but snap count was up, targets were up. I think he's maybe starting to get, you know, he's starting to come together here as a rookie and doing a little bit more. Speaking of more, Sky Moore, he's
Sky
he,
Moore.
he's been on the rise too. I think you know, it's just not exciting what they've got going on with MVS and Juju. They've had some moments here and there, but Sky Moore is kind of steadily creeping up. So I think
It,
I'd go with the rookies, man.
Speaking of Juju, I was watching the game, and it seemed like him and Mahomes were on the same page, but it just seemed like it was just slow, if that makes sense. Like their connection wasn't they were on the same page. The ball was being put where he needed it to be, but it seemed like Juju was just a couple seconds behind where he needed to be for the ball to be in the right spot, if that makes sense. Am I the only one seeing this? Like I was watching the game and it seemed like there was just they weren't off. I wouldn't say that they were off, but they were kind of behind what they should have been. Like the speed that they wanted to play at was faster than they were ready to play. I would say, I guess you would say that was off, but it the
What do you
ball
think?
was where he needed it.
What do you think, Mike?
I think. Are you saying that Juju is slower than Tyreek Hill?
Woo! All right, I guess you're gonna hold on that pin path. Yeah, I guess so. I guess their passing attack's a little lackluster without Tyreek Hill.
I mean, I actually think what their passing game is. I mean, and their whole offensive scheme this year, I think it's actually pretty impressive. Um,
Well, it's more balanced. They're actually using CEH the way that they need to be using him out of the backfield, catching balls. Like that's where he benefits most. He's not a between the tackles runner as we all saw in the first 2 years, but it seems like they are missing the pop from their offense unless Kelsey gets 4 touchdowns on 4 targets on 25 yards.
Do on the exact same play that they didn't adjust to. Dumbasses. But now Juju. There has been a little bit of a little out of sync. But
Hmm.
Juju, he made his prominence came from quick hitters and yak, and that's not what Kansas City's doing with him. I think it'll. I don't know. I see good signs there though, and I see some of the old Juju. It's just that once they do get that timing down and get a little more in sync, it could be good. It's just hard to say. Will it get there? Was Juju just a product of Ben trying to get rid of the ball early and him making plays after the catch? Or can he be a more complete receiver and do what they want him to do in Kansas City? So it's yeah, it's up in the air. I saw it too though, Sean. I know exactly what you're saying. It's like
Hmm.
the potential looks like it's there. It's just not quite come together yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nico
Well, let's.
Collins coming back from bye week. If he gets
Yeah.
a touchdown, he's going to be 15 points, 16-point guy. So if he can just start getting the ball in the end zone, he would be a very good asset going forward. And I know Ricky went out and got him because he thought he could be something. So hopefully, hopefully he does turn into something.
Nico is ascending if you look at the numbers, but the quarterback play has been pretty bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nico is one of those under the radar guys. He can be good. If a little bit better quarterback play, if Mills can step it back up, because he was up there last year. He kind of played over his head a little bit. He's regressed this year. If he could get back to some semblance of what he was last year, then Nico can be a good sleeper kind of guy. Cooks has been down a little bit. I think again that's quarterback play. But Cooks is getting older, and Nico is more of a possession guy. And I think he can be good, but Mills has to do something, man. Give him something to work with. I'll just finish up with so that Ian doesn't get too butthurt over everything. His
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 feelings matter.
yeah. His only significant buy this week is Cook. So he's still pretty much got his guys in there. So, when it comes to buys, you start thinking about could someone steal one from somebody else, but with only Cook on buy and him still having a pretty solid roster and the tips just like being pretty god awful. I don't I don't see I don't
To
see
put it
him
nicely,
I don't see him stealing one. I think Poo Crew's gonna get the W, but it's interesting to see Poo Crew at 4-2. We're not even halfway through the season, and he's already approaching the most losses he's ever had in a season. You could probably give me that one, Sean. I'm not. What is it? Three is the most losses you had in a season, or is it?
I don't have it right at my tips.
Yeah. Well.
I can already
Yeah.
hear Ian typing because he's going to tell you right now. He'll say, "I have started every season 4-2."
Yeah. Oh, is that right? Is that true?
Supposedly, I didn't fact check, but
Ah.
that's what I heard.
And then he went on a tear, and everything was just lovely, right? I don't know, man. He's got Cook playing on half a shoulder. I mean, it's not one shoulder. He's got like half a shoulder left. That guy. When I made that bold prediction that Cook would struggle to be a RB2, a lot of it was because that shoulder's just degenerating, man. And I hate it for him. I don't pull against any player. I don't care who he plays for in fantasy. But Cook, man, that shoulder's just getting bad, and he's got to play with the device. And it's not good. He's getting older. So we talked about some of his guys aging out. There's a little bit of we can see a chink in the armor. He scored less than 100 points. Poo Crew, are we talking about you enough, man? I'll say for the third time, you scored less than 100 points. So there's a little chink in the armor, man. I know he's sweating over there. He's probably studying trade scenarios as we speak.
Sorry, Poo Crew. Dylan doesn't have anybody else that you can poach from. And
That well is dry, man. He
that
puts
is 0-6 dry.
yeah. He puts that bucket down the well, comes up with a little sludge, man. Yeah.
That was week 6 in review, week 7 in preview. If you didn't hear, the Poo Crew didn't score 100 points and lost to FNG. That's only because, Ian, you suck.